Let's jump right into today's explainer because I am absolutely thrilled to unpack this one with you. We're looking at a fascinating piece of literature called The Gentleman of the Jungle. Now, on the surface, it sounds like this charming, totally innocent little story about talking animals. But, as we're going to see by peeling back the layers of this fable, things are rarely as simple as they appear. Okay, let's dive into this. Because this innocent-sounding animal story, it actually operates as a really sharp political allegory. It's this brilliant piece of writing that basically poses as a bedtime story, but it was designed to do a whole lot more than just put kids to sleep. We're going to explore how a story about a man and a very persistent elephant is literally a powerful manifesto hiding in plain sight. Let's start by looking at how this incredible story actually unfolds. Section 1. A Fable of the Jungle. So, once upon a time, at the edge of a deep, dark forest, a man lived in a small hut. And during this absolute downpour of a thunderstorm, an elephant comes up to his human friend with what seems like a wonderfully polite request. He says, "My dear good man, will you please let me put my trunk inside your hut to keep it out of this torrential rain?" The man, feeling compassionate for his friend's miserable condition, says yes. He tells the elephant his hut is small, but there's room for just the trunk. He kindly asks the elephant to just, put it in gently. It's a small concession, right? Just a neighborly act. But this simple act of kindness kicks off a totally catastrophic chain of events. Yet, things don't stay neighborly for long. Step 1, the elephant seeks shelter. But in step 2, as soon as that trunk is inside, the elephant slowly pushes his head in and finally just flings the man entirely out into the rain. He lies down comfortably and basically tells the man that since his human skin is harder, he can afford to stay out in the hail. No way, right? So outraged, the man starts to grumble, which draws this big crowd of animals. And in step 3, he seeks justice from the ultimate authority, the lion, the king of the jungle, which naturally leads us to step 4, the formation of a formal commission. The lion arrives roaring, demanding to know exactly who is disturbing the peace of his kingdom. But when the elephant, who, oh by the way, it turns out is a high minister in the jungle, explains that it's just a little discussion, the lion immediately shifts his tone. He promises the man a fair trial to keep the peace, declaring, "I command my ministers to appoint a commission of inquiry to go thoroughly into this matter and report accordingly." The lion uses all these sweet, bureaucratic words, telling the man he should be happy to have the elephant as a friend, and promising that justice will, naturally, be served. But the man quickly realizes he's been played. The commission is appointed, and guess what? It's made up entirely of animals. You've got Mr. Rhinoceros, Mr. Buffalo, Mr. Alligator, the fox, and the leopard. When the man protests and asks for just one single human on the jury to represent his side, he is met with just incredible arrogance. The animals claim it's impossible because no one from his side was well enough educated to understand the intricacy of jungle law. They tell him to just trust them, literally claiming they are gentlemen chosen by God to look after lesser races. And surprise, surprise, the commission ultimately rules that the elephant was just putting the man's undeveloped space to a more economic use. After the ruling, the man is given permission to build a new hut. So he builds another one, but a rhinoceros charges in and takes it. Another commission is held with the exact same result. He builds hut after hut, and the animals, Mr. Buffalo, Mr. Leopard, Mr. Hyena, they just keep taking them, using perfectly legal reasons under jungle law. Finally, the exhausted man realizes these commissions are completely useless, so he builds one massive, beautiful hut. All the jungle lords rush in, they start fighting over it, and while they're all embroiled in this massive conflict, the man sets the entire hut on fire, burning it to the ground with all the animals inside. He walks away with his final, powerful realization. Peace is costly, but it's worth the expense. Section 2. Unpacking the political satire. Now, what's really interesting about this story, the true genius of it, is that it's a massive allegory for European colonialism in Africa. In Kenyatta's text, the elements of the fable map perfectly to the real world. The animals, they represent the colonizers. The jungle law represents those oppressive European laws imposed on native lands. And the Mon represents the native Africans, who Kenyatta illustrates as being systematically pushed out of their own homes and resources under the guise of so-called civilized law. The story masterfully tackles this concept of destructive bureaucracy. Think of it as a system where rules and regulations are intentionally designed by those in power to literally legalize inequality. The man tries to be a good, law-abiding citizen. He follows the rules, but the fair play of the jungle only works if the rules are actually equal for everyone. In Kenyatta's allegory, the jungle law wasn't broken. It was created specifically to oppress.
So the crucial point is perfectly summarized right here. Justice is meaningless when the powerful control the system and use it for their own benefit. I mean, when the very people stealing your home are the ones sitting on the Commission of Inquiry, you're never going to get your home back. The system isn't broken at all. It's functioning exactly as the powerful designed it to.
Which brings us to the irony of the title itself. In Kenyatta's satire, each colonist views himself as one of the gentlemen of the jungle. They don't act like wild beasts tearing things apart. No, they use polite, European-style bureaucracy to justify their actions. The story really highlights the sheer arrogance of treating the man as uneducated, while at the exact same time relying on his skilled labor to build their shelters. They essentially use the man as a free builder and then persuade him that this blatant theft is completely natural and perfectly legal.
Section 3. The Author and Legacy. To really fully appreciate this incredible text, we have to look at the man who wrote it. Jomo Kenyatta didn't just write about these struggles, he lived them. He was a prominent anti-colonialist activist, a towering statesman, and the undisputed leader of the African people of Kenya in their struggle for independence. Writing this story was just one part of his lifelong fight against the exact systemic injustice he described in the fable. And his life story is just fascinating. In 1938, he published Facing Mount Kenya, which is an incredibly important anthropological study of the Kikuyu people, featuring an introduction by his mentor at the London School of Economics, Bronislaw Malinowski. But then, World War II breaks out. In 1939, Kenyatta moves to a rural Sussex village in the UK. He totally settles into rural life, becomes a regular at the local pub where he was actually nicknamed Jumbo, and in 1940 he works on a farm and in tomato greenhouses to evade military conscription. Eventually, though, he returns to Africa to lead the fight against the very jungle law he wrote about, and he becomes the first prime minister of an independent Kenya. But beyond his immense political achievements, Kenyatta was just an incredibly vibrant personality. He was a total showman at heart. He was known for his incredible flair. Like, one moment he's wearing brightly colored shirts, the next he's in these elegant, tailored Savile Row suits, and he was often photographed wearing a striking leopard skin hat while waving a silver fly whisk. He brought the exact same dynamic energy to his public life as he did to his writing.
So you might be wondering, why did a statesman and anthropologist write a children's fable? Well, because a fable has this powerful dual purpose. First off, it safely entertains kids with an engaging story about animals. But more importantly, because the good and bad sides are so clearly defined, it is literally the perfect tool to instill a basic understanding of human dignity into the minds of children. By teaching them early on about the hazards of corruption and the absolute necessity of opposing oppressive governments, Kenyatta was actively trying to save the next generation from enduring the exact same miseries he had lived through.
Which leaves us with something incredibly important to consider. Kenyatta's story is a historical critique of colonialism for sure, but the mechanics of systemic inequality, the way rules can be rigged by the powerful to oppress the vulnerable while they just smile and call themselves gentlemen, that hasn't disappeared. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Look around the modern world. Where do we still see the jungle law operating today? Who is building the huts and who is taking them? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions and I'll catch you next time.